What's truly important to you and your team just became abundantly clear. Crisis either unites or divides us. And my guess is that you're seeing this more than ever with your team right now. Whether you're a senior leader leading a large staff or a ministry leader providing direction to a small team of volunteers, the strengths and weaknesses of your team are probably pretty clear right now. Initially, you banded together and you rallied to make the adjustments necessary to adapt to our rapidly changing world. But now fatigue is settling in. We're all a little tired. Emotions are high and the way forward is a little fuzzy. The demands of working, parenting, teaching, cooking, cleaning, staying healthy, and protecting our families have required superhero energy from all of us. As the leader, your team needs your clarity and confidence now more than ever. They need to feel the strength of your leadership, perhaps like never before. They need you to lead them to the next normal. Now, before you let that statement overwhelm you, I want to encourage you that this is what you're made for. You are right where you belong, and this is why you've been positioned to lead in this season. In my book, The 4 Dimensions of Extraordinary Leadership, I dedicate an entire chapter to the subject of leading in chaos. And my point is to emphasize the fact that leading through chaos is really what we do as leaders. We go first. We have to bravely engage the confusion and the chaos to provide a next step for those we lead. And this moment is requiring that kind of bravery from you. We need you to lead. We need you to go first. We need you to step into the haze and help your teams find a way forward. See, as leaders, we actually provide strength and we find strength when we focus our attention and our efforts on providing hope and possibility for those we lead. It's an extraordinary gift that we give to others. And here's the good news. This isn't a mystery that only the best of leaders have unlocked. Leading with clarity and confidence, even in a season of immense uncertainty, is something you can do. How you lead in uncertainty is actually a greater reflection of your leadership ability than how you lead in the ordinary. So this is a key moment for your leadership. How do you lead with clarity and confidence when really that's the last thing you feel right now, isn't it? In the Foresight building blocks for success, we define 3 core building blocks that are essential for every great organization: purpose, culture, and strategy. And the pressure of this pandemic has obliterated our strategies, quickly eroded our team culture with the demands of remote work, and forced us to revisit the question of purpose. Why do we do what we do? And that second building block of culture is where I want to focus for today. Because when I'm talking about culture in this context, I'm referring to your team, your staff, your people. I want to help you nurture your team culture in these turbulent times, because your team is either your greatest asset or your greatest liability, and teams are either become more unified or more divided when put under pressure. And the good news is that I believe it's within your control. There's a lot that's out of your control, but how you show up for your team is essential to lead through this moment and will have lasting impact on your culture in the next normal. I deeply believe that how you lead your team right now will position you for success in the long run. So we need you to lead your team well. Now, that starting point for healthy team culture and the piece that links purpose to strategy are the values that guide your team. Values are the guiding principles that define the habits and the behaviors necessary to accomplish your mission and vision together. Values answer the question of how. How will we work together, lead together, accomplish mission together in a climate that is unknown? How will we make decisions? How will we behave in a way that is congruent with our purpose and accomplishes our strategy? See, values are the linchpin to organizational life, but they're often quite difficult for us to define in a way that's memorable and perhaps more importantly, impactful. But here's the thing, whether stated or not, you have values. There are guiding principles that are driving how your team works together. So my question for you is, are your values producing the results you want? What do you really value as a team? And do your values need to be revisited? If you're like most organizations, there are two issues with your values. First, no one pays attention to them. You actually might have stated values that are beautifully written and hang on the wall of your church or your organization, but no one actually knows them or pays any attention to them. And more critically, your habits and your behaviors don't really reflect them. Or secondly, your values are actually working against you. Perhaps you don't have stated values, but there are definitely habits and behaviors that influence how your team works together. And if you're honest, they're working against you more than they're working for you. See, creating a shared set of values that align your team is some of the most important work that you can do as a leader. Great values provide your team with rules of engagement for how they accomplish their vision and goals together. Strong, clearly defined values do several things. First, they provide a filter for decision making. They just help us make better decisions. Second, they clarify expectations. Third, they give team members confidence in what is expected from them. And fourth, and probably my favorite, is they simplify the need for bureaucracy. As you lead your team forward in this season of uncertainty and complexity, there's no better time than now to get clear about your values, to get clear about what is important to you as a team. Because values are the guiding principles that tether your team together and will equip your team to become stronger and more unified. So to get you started in defining the values for your team, I actually have a free workbook that you can download. You just need to text Foresight, the number 4 in the word sight, to 773-770-4377. And here's the thing I want you to remember. Your team will become more critical than ever to help you embrace the season ahead. Your culture will provide the stability that your strategy moving forward will stand upon. A recent Harvard Business Review article said this: "Those who manage the economic effects of this crisis in a clear and compassionate way create more value for their companies and will come out of this pandemic stronger than ever before." And that's what I hope for your team. I deeply believe that we need extraordinary leadership more than ever. My personal philosophy of leadership is anchored in the Great Commandment, where we're instructed to love God and love others with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind, and with all of our strength. Our greatest calling is to love God and love others with all of who we are: heart, soul, mind, and strength. See, leadership is sacred work, and we need you to lead with all of who you are into the next normal.